All right, so you've graduated from university or college. So first of all, congratulations. But the next step for you is essentially to land that job after you graduate. And it could be a pretty stressful time for you as you go into the market and try to figure out, well, how can I demonstrate my value to these various companies and all that. And instead of just going out and randomly applying, what I encourage you to do is figure out what you want. So find a company, find a role that you feel that your experience, that your volunteer work, that any of your past education or whatever can add the most value to. Because in that area, use that as a starting point, and then you can leverage that experience and those insights in order to make you have a slight edge over everybody else that is applying as well. So first of all, taking the time to think about what it is it that you want, right? And it's not that it's a commitment. It's not the one thing that you have to get. It's one, this is my starting point. This is where I begin my search. And then I can tailor myself for any future opportunities upcoming. And hopefully you had some sort of idea of what you wanted to do with that degree after you graduated. So for me, I was in computer science and I wanted to be a developer. I wanted to be a coder. But going through my work terms and things like that, it exposed me to a few other things. So I had like networking in terms of like computer architecture and things like that, desktop support and stuff. I actually thought that I want to do that for the rest of my career. And I got turned into technology consulting, which I knew nothing about, but I found that from kind of my last co-op work term. So for you, what is it that ideal job that you would want? And if you can pick a company, the ideal case that based on your experience and all that sort of stuff, you feel that you would be a great fit. And what you'll want to do is find a job description for that particular role, for that particular company. And go on Indeed, go on LinkedIn, go on Workopolis, whatever it is, and find a job description for that particular role and that particular company. And you might ask, well, what if I can't find one? What if there's no job opening for that particular company? Well, then you create a proxy, right? So either you find that job description or job role for a different company, because companies tend to hire similar type things, even if it's an old job description from previous terms or previous years, then that's fine. All you're looking for is to understand all the different requirements of there. If you, for whatever reason, still can't find a job description on any of the job boards, be it current past, be it for a competitor or whatever, then what you'll want to do is try to find people, let's say on LinkedIn, whose job you want, right? So that person that's already doing that role and taking a look at their profile. Now, depending on the person, they might have put a lot of information in their profile or maybe just a little bit of that. And what you can do is take a look at the context of yourself against them in terms of like the type of degree, in terms of extracurriculars, any other certifications or job experience, and how do you stack up? Because if you have very similar requirements and qualifications as they do, then you're likely to get in. If you're missing a whole bunch of things, then you're less likely to get in. But the good thing is that you'll understand the gaps that you need to work on in order to be a good fit for the role. So once you have that job description or once you have that list of things that people have done in order to achieve the role, what you want to do is take a look and see if you can actually go into your experience, go into your education and find ways where you can demonstrate that. So the easiest way is going through the bullet point on the responsibilities, the qualifications or what have you, and say, can you give me an example of when you've done this, right? And then for each bullet to be able to satisfy that, right? To say, oh yeah, I could actually say that I've done this, be it at school, be it at a volunteer, be it at some sort of extracurricular or part-time job or something. And what you'll want to do is for all of the bullet points, can you meet at least 80% of them, right? So if they have 10 bullet points, can you meet 8 out of them? And the main reason 8 out of 10 is when you can meet 8, you can be somewhat competitive in the process. If it's less than that, then you're probably not competitive enough. And the other part is you don't have to meet 100% because sometimes employers will just put in things because, and not necessarily because it's absolutely needed, because it would be a great to have, whether they put it as an asset or not. So if you meet 80% of what's there, then you can apply. But what you also want to do is start thinking through, as you're looking at them, well, what keeps coming up? What are some of the common themes, the common skills, the common tools, the common processes, the common approaches that you need? And if you're finding that there are more gaps than not, Well, maybe you want to take a course on it. Maybe you want to see the next time you go to your volunteer or your part-time job or whatever, are there opportunities for me to fill that gap? So I call that process pre-writing your resume to say, okay, these are the things that I want to be doing over the next week, month, the year, as I'm going through the job hunt. Because if you don't have the experience to write on in your resume, well, then it becomes challenging for you to do the job hunt process. So really going through those job descriptions, the postings, and seeing, do I have all of them? For some of you, it might be a bit of a stretch where you haven't done this, but that's where things like transferable skills come in, right? So if you have a similar experience where you haven't done it in this particular area or whatever, but you've done it somewhere else, then you can mark that off. So oftentimes, every single job or every single work that you've done probably has some sort of coordination, some sort of dealing with people, some sort of customer service in there, and maybe not all together, but those are some transferable skill sets that you can think of in order to qualify those for those particular roles. So go through them one by one, and if you meet 80% of them, then you're ready to apply. And then we get into the resume and the cover letter section of the whole application process. So that's the standard, that's the traditional part where you apply online. The second way to get a job is basically through networking, right? To build meaningful connections, and we'll take a look at that in a later stage. And then the last one, well, we'll have a couple of other suggestions in terms of how to get a job using potentially a little bit more out of the box means. So, all right, so let's get into the resume and the cover letter section.